Prime Minister is under pressure to decide the fate of Home Secretary Suella Braverman after she was accused of emboldening far-right activists involved in violent clashes over the weekend.
The funeral of football legend Sir Bobby Charlton takes place later today. Fans expected to line the streets of Manchester to pay their respects. And here the regulator Ofcom has fined Royal Mail £5.6 million for failing to meet its delivery targets for both first and second class post. Ofcom says the penalty includes a 30% reduction, which reflects Royal Mail's admissions of liability.
This morning's newspapers, shall we? Lots of them focusing on the violence in London that we saw over the weekend. This is the headline on The Sun. Never again is what they're saying, which says the Prime Minister wants to introduce new laws to make it easier to ban marches and demonstrations.
This morning's Telegraph echoing the latest words of the current Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, saying that the government aims to toughen up laws to prevent protests that, in her words, pollute the streets.
The Daily Express asks, will Suella survive the Prime Minister's reshuffle amid what the paper calls fevered speculation? We've been talking about it already, haven't we? The Prime Minister is going to shake up his top team imminently.
And the Daily Mail also going with Suella Braverman, saying the Home Secretary is defying her critics who wanted to be sacked today, saying she's come out fighting with that condemnation of what the Mail calls ugly scenes at the weekend.
And there is an image of King Charles, which appears on the cover of Big Issue magazine to mark his 75th birthday, which is tomorrow. The portrait was taken by the photographer Rankin, and King Charles uses the accompanying article to talk about the importance of tackling food waste and food insecurity.
Morning's front pages for you. So what's happening? Well, let's take a look at the Mirror. Have you no shame? They're asking Suella Braverman, whose picture here laying a wreath at the cenotaph after being blamed for violence on Armistice Day. The Express reports that Rishi Sunak is facing growing calls to sack his Home Secretary as speculation grows that the PM is considering reshuffling his top team. The Mail leads with Ms Braverman's claim that pro-Palestinian marches are polluting the streets with hate. The Home Secretary's comments are also on the front of the Telegraph there. The Sun claims the Prime Minister wants to make it easier to ban marches following the clashes we saw on Armistice Day. What about the Times? They also leading with this story, adding that Rishi Sunak will urge the Metropolitan Police Commissioner to immediately arrest protesters seen using anti-Semitic slogans. And this is the Metro. The Princess of Wales looking visibly moved at the Remembrance Sunday service at the Cenotaph. That's the front page of the Metro for you. Hunt considers pre-Christmas tax cuts to lift Tory gloom. That's the headline on the Eye, which says Jeremy Hunt is considering cuts to inheritance tax and stamp duty in the hope of narrowing Labour's lead in the polls. And The Guardian reports that thousands of babies and toddlers are being admitted to hospital in England each year with lung conditions which are probably linked to damp and mould-ridden homes. The Financial Times leads with the US warning Israel not to attack hospitals in Gaza and endanger lives of patients. And bad news this morning for hay fever sufferers, with the Daily Star reporting it's now becoming a year-long menace. And if you want to see any of those front pages again or read the stories, scan the QR code, it's on the screen.